Katt Williams, the interview, the gift that just keeps on giving. Okay, so I just want to touch base on just small parts of the interview that Katt Williams did, and the part where he says that the main job of celebrities and your favorites is to basically try to convince you that they have not sold their soul. And I've talked before about selling your soul. You cannot sell your soul, but basically doing certain stuff to influence the masses through music. Because I've talked about music before, how music is so important and how music basically change your brain and your frequency depending on the kind of music that you listen to. I, for myself, is someone that listen to different frequency of music whenever I go to sleep to basically manifest different stuff in my life, because I know from different civilization how music, vibration of music can literally change you, right? So he went on to say that their main job is try to convince you that they have not sold their soul, or their main job is try to convince you that they're not doing the things that they are basically doing, which is considered conspiracy theories, but they're not doing those things because they cannot tell you that they're doing them. They cannot agree that they're doing them, but they can drop hints, right? Because the law is that they cannot try to make you do something without you knowing that they're making you do it, right? Because we all have free will. You have to agree to do certain stuff. So for example, whenever you listen to your faves music, which they have very low vibrational frequency sound in their music to change your brain and mindset, you chose to pick up that phone and play that type of sound. You know what I mean? Because for example, the kind of music that I choose to listen to, I cannot force it upon somebody else. If they don't like the music, they're just not going to listen to it, right? But you have the free will to go in and play that music and listen to it. And the first thing that came to my mind when he said that was Doja Cat. Doja Cat have basically changed, and a lot of them do that, is they'll start and then they'll change a few years down the line because they had to do certain stuff, which then change them as human being, change their frequency and vibration. And I don't know if a lot of people listen to XXXTentacion, but he was literally one of the best person to really talk about this, because this man was smart. He was very smart. I feel like he was something a lot higher in his previous life, if you believe in reincarnation. But I think he was putting in the message, and he was teaching his followers, the people who listen to his music, his beehive, so to say, Beyonce's beehive, they're his fans, the true meaning of life. And the true meaning, that tattoo he has on his forehead is the tree of life. That's what it was. And the two color he had in his hair were basically the as above so below, the right and the left brain. That's what it was representing. He was basically teaching people in his music. But a lot of a lot of celebrities don't do that. They are not allowed to speak on it, but they can drop little hints in their musics to let you know. If you know, you know. But if you don't know, you just, to use just another symbol, it's just another whatever. But Katt Williams was talking about the fact that celebrities will basically try to convince you, pulling tooth and nail, that they don't do those things. Like for example, the black and white, the checkerboard and all that stuff, people always say, oh, it's Illuminati. Well, the type of Illuminati that those celebrities do is the darker version of that. You know what I mean? Because they twist the information and make it dark, just like the Illuminati. Illuminati means the enlightened ones. It's not something that is completely bad, but it's something that was reversed by the celebrities to make the fans worship them, basically. You know what I mean? As above, so below is a real thing. Anyway, as within, so without, all of that. But the first thing I noticed whenever Katt Williams said that is when Doja Cat basically went on this interview trying to convince people that what they're seeing is not what they're seeing. What do you mean, sis? You just told me that how does my demons look? And we all have demons, right? How does my demons look? Your music video was insinuating a different kind of message. And for a young version brain and a young version eyes, once they see the video, it straight goes to like demon, sacrifice, and what we have been brainwashed to think. So it's pushing a message to the masses that really don't know the truth. You know what I mean? So it's pushing a message, but then for you to come out and say, well, what you saw is not what you saw, because that's not the message that I was trying to push. We saw what we saw. We know what we know. You know what I mean? So you were pushing a message, but people saw it for what it was, and then you want to try to convince us that's not what we saw. Basically saying that it's creative, it's creative writing, is expressing your creativity, which is great, but then again, you do not use a symbol in your work unless you know what that symbol means, unless you know what the symbol will do. For example, like banks use logos and put subliminal messages in their logos. Not just banks, but any company use their logos, use a specific color, a specific symbol, because it represents something specific. What do you think when you see Chanel, the brand Chanel? It reminds you of luxury. It reminds you of beauty, of something expensive, because that's the purpose of that sigil. It's a sigil. That's the purpose of that sigil, to make the person who is purchasing that sigil to be in a certain frequency, to make you feel luxurious, to make you feel like, you know, it's something amazing. That's the purpose of the double C's. So whenever you see like a company, for example, you go to a hospital, you see a sigil of the logo of the hospital, it reminds you of whatever. For example, the logo of the company that I work, it has a cross in it, but then you can see leaves. So between the four leaves shape a cross. But if you don't focus enough, you will see that cross. And the cross is there because it's a religious hospital. It's a Christian-based hospital. So therefore, the cross is there for your brain to automatically go select Christ whenever you see the logo of that company. You know what I mean? You put certain stuff in your work and your artwork subliminally to send a message out. Just like whenever you watch the news, they subliminally drop little nuggets in the news so they can put out a message, so they can trigger certain thing in your brain. That is the reason why they do certain stuff. So when Katt Williams said that, you know, the celebrities are there to basically try to convince you that they haven't sold their soul, or they haven't been doing things that are immoral, that's their job. They're not going to just come out and say, oh, well, I do goat sacrifices, or I drink children to live longer, or to do all these things. They're not going to come out and tell you that. Like, for example, look at the show Santa Clarita Diet, where this Drew Barrymore is basically, she's undead, and she is taking people out and eating them so she can stay young. And the twist in the movie was that they wanted to drain her blood so they can sell it to wealthy people, because they're willing to spend that money so they can stay young. In Hollywood, what is the purpose of everybody trying to stay young? Why doesn't everybody just want to age gracefully and blah blah blah? Well, it's because their soul is bound to this earth. Their soul is bound to this earth. They have to try to live long, or whenever they do pass on, they can reincarnate back into a bloodline that is wealthy. Bitch, don't take my words for it. Do your research. Do your research. Those things are real. And that interview, every time I watch the interview, I gather something more. I gather something more. And then the aliens in Miami, I feel like could be Project Bluebeam. I don't know if you know about that, but it could be that. It could be that they're trying to cover up some secret, some secret list that just came out with a lot of viewer faves, a lot of celebrities on there that had been going to the Epstein Island. Yeah, I think they're trying to cover something up, because I have aunts that live in Miami, and I reached out to them and they said they didn't hear nothing about this alien thing. And I know people who basically were at that mall and nobody heard anything about that, but they have a whole scene with cops fill up the whole street because they discover aliens. Are aliens real? Bye.